I admit, even though I can imagine I will get quite a bit of backlash here, I am by no means a fan of Disney's Frozen, the movie, or the massive multi-million dollar franchise it spawned.
So it's time to take some action, boys.
Hear me out. The film is solid, I'll admit. However, I do not see what makes it stand out from their other musical films, such as Tangled and those of the Disney Renaissance over 20 years before. The plot just follows all your average Disney tropes, making very few changes to the formula throughout as well, such as having two princesses as opposed to one. Additionally, Let It Go and For the First Time in Forever are two songs that get annoyingly stuck in my head and never leave. And they don't really stand out from other Disney songs. It's just an I Want song and the big showstopper they have to have. However, despite all that, I do like the characters, and of course the film has amazing animation and special effects. Probably some of the best in Disney's computer animated films to date. I'll admit, when a sequel was announced, I initially wrote it off and decided not to give it a chance, at least until it came to Disney Plus or some streaming service. And even when it arrived on Plus, I was initially hesitant but ultimately relented for you guys. Now that I've seen it, I am sure you're all wondering what I am thinking of it. Well, let's take a dive into the unknown. Picking up 3 years after the events of the original, Frozen 2 continues the story of Anna and Elsa. However, while the original focused on the two rather equally, the sequel serves to further develop Elsa and give her an origin to her powers. We are also given a reason as to why their parents went searching the South Sea and the circumstances behind their subsequent demise. This makes a story that is much more engaging than its predecessor and one that thankfully changes up the Disney musical formula. The film also contains an environmental message laced throughout, and unlike many films with such, it thankfully doesn't shove it down our throats. In contrast to the original, the stakes were also significantly increased, as Anna, Elsa, and their friends are working to prevent the literal destruction of their home by discovering the secrets of their past. And before moving on, I would also like to make a note of how self aware it is regarding its predecessor. There are plenty of moments throughout that, while they reference previous events, they also take time to make jabs at them, such as one moment during the Show Yourself sequence. In addition to a massively improved storyline, our main players also received a much needed upgrade. While watching the first film, I enjoyed seeing the dynamic between Anna and Elsa after years of separation and consider that one of the plot's strengths, and I can confidently say I feel the same way regarding the sequel. Their relationship is thankfully expanded upon a bit, with Elsa going to great lengths to keep her sister safe. However, Frozen 2 is more Elsa's movie than it is Anna, since it focuses on the former's origins and the secrets behind her powers. Seriously, I would love to see this woman as part of the X-Men. While Anna does get a few moments to shine, it seems in this film she is sidelined for the most of the story. Actually, that can be said for almost all the cast, except for a certain snowman. In the original film and other appearances, looking at you, Kingdom Hearts 3, I found Olaf to be a cute but annoying character. I found his voice to be grating and his personality to be unbelievably naive. But to be fair, he was just born by the time Anna discovers him. Thankfully, in the sequel, he is much less so than his earlier incarnation. However, he does have his moments. I will give him credit. One of those moments sets up an important plot point for the rest of the movie. Rounding out the main cast are Anna's boyfriend Kristoff and his reindeer Sven. These two characters were unfortunately sidelined for most of the film, aside from Kristoff's main goal in the story. While they were major players in the original and vital in the sisters' development, they did not receive such treatment in this one. They received a significantly less amount of screen time, and it feels they were pushed into the background. It's a shame because these two were my favorites from the original, and I would have loved to see them get as much development as the others. Even their song felt cheap as it was simply a rehash of Reindeers Are Better Than People, and while watching it I got some serious Mulan 2 vibes from that cop-out. However, reindeers aside, the songs were leagues better than the previous film, and were thankfully ones that weren't as earwormy. The ones in Frozen 2 blended in much more organically than the original as well. Matter of fact, if I were to choose between the sequels and the original soundtrack, I would definitely pick the former. Now, I am sure you are all wondering the million-dollar question. Is Frozen 2 now my favorite CGI Disney film? Unfortunately, and I hate to burst your bubble here, but that's a no. I still think Tangled is much better than this. While superior to the original Frozen in terms of plot and music, This film needed a lot more character development aside from just Elsa and Olaf. Anna, Kristoff, and Sven were underutilized and deserved much more spotlight than what they got. Matter of fact, the latter two also needed a song that wasn't simply a rehash of the one from the first film. However, I do like how everyone's character arcs were wrapped up, and if there is a sequel in the distant future, it will be interesting to see what new adventures the group will face. Thank you all so much for watching the video, and as always, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more. This time, I have two questions for you. One, what did you think of Frozen 2? And two, what is your favorite CGI Disney film? Feel free to discuss in the comments below, and be sure to join us next time, whatever that may be.